Robert Lewandowski has won the Best FIFA Men's Player Award for the second year running. The Bayern Munich and Poland striker enjoyed another sensational year in 2021, firing 69 goals in all competitions. The 33-year-old scored 43 goals in a calendar year, breaking the record held by Gerd Muller since 1972. He saw off competition from PSG star Lionel Messi, who had pipped him to the Ballon d'Or title in November, and Liverpool forward Mohamed Salah. History will say that in the midst of that eternal hegemony between Lionel Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo that spanned more than a decade in the world of football, a few managed to leak it. Robert Lewandowski will be able to boast of that when in 2020 he appropriated the best award, prevailing in the final shortlist against the Portuguese and the Argentine. He is one of the few, together with the Croatian Luka Modric, who managed to burn his name between the predominance of these two legends. Those times when he began his soccer career in Poland and his teammates made fun of him for being too skinny until he looked weak seem far away for Lewandowski, who today has become one of the top scorers in world football and a record-breaking machine in the Bayern Munich world. Robert was born in Warsaw on August 21, 1988, and took his first football steps at the MKS team in his city. At the age of 15, in 2004, he went to the Delta Club, and the following year to the popular Legia Varsovia. Those were times when he was not focused on football, because it was his rebellious time. He used to steal his parents' car to run illegal races in the woods with his friends without even having a driver's license. He threw bananas at the policeman and even threw a table at a teacher who failed him in an exam. With the death of his father, he came to consider hanging up his boots, but from that moment, he emerged with devastating force, despite the fact that he couldn't continue in his team. So much so that he ended up at Pruszków in the 2006-07 season, which he helped to promote to the first division with his 15 goals, and in the top flight, he reached 21 and again attracted the interest of a large Polish club, Lech Poznan. Not more than a month had passed when his agent Cezary Kucharski had bought an offer from Sporting Gijon, which had just been promoted to the Spanish First Division after a decade. And days later, Zaragoza and Tottenham were already competing for his pass. However, no one wanted to invest the €5 million required. His debut for Lech Poznan was through qualification for the UEFA Europa League. In the first round against FK Khazar Lankaran of Azerbaijan, he entered as a substitute and scored the winning goal. And in his league debut against GKS Belkatau, he also came off the bench and scored after 4 minutes. He finished the season in the second place of the scorers table. Already in the second season, he scored 18 goals, was the top scorer, and his team was champion of the Polish League. No one was surprised then that at the end of the 2009-10 season, he passed to Borussia Dortmund, led by Jurgen Klopp, the current Liverpool manager, for €4.5 million, and there he would win 2 Bundesliga titles in a row, although his beginning was not really happy. Jurgen Klopp had summoned him to be the replacement for the Argentine Lucas Barros, but he had no weight in the team's gate, and even his fans began to call him Chance Todd, waste of occasions, and the press didn't understand why they had hired him. He seemed very fragile for the Bundesliga. I expected more game, more goals, and that he would hold the contact better. He's not at his level, Klopp said, not used to airing this kind of criticism. But Lewandowski did not give up and came to work 6 hours a day in the gym to gain muscle mass, because it was already a problem that he had dragged from Poland and that he reflected in his bachelor's thesis in physical education and sports, where he preferred to tell his own case to graduate from the Wisara in Warsaw. His persistence and unwavering faith made him perform to the full in his second season at Borussia Dortmund, in a great offensive triangle with Mario Götze and Marco Reus. He was already a protagonist in the team, and not only won the Bundesliga, since to close the year, he scored a hat-trick against Bayern Munich in the final of the German Cup. Nevertheless, his great campaign, the one that led him to being considered a top player, was in the 2012-13 season. In the Champions League, he scored 10 goals in 13 games, and his team reached the final. in which they were defeated 2-1 against Bayern, although before he scored all 4 goals against Real Madrid in the semi-final, which finished 4-1. And in the Bundesliga went on to score goals in 12 consecutive games. In the 2013-14 season, coloured by his announcement that he would be joining Bayern in June, he scored 20 goals and was the tournament's top scorer. Borussia Dortmund's national rival Bayern Munich came for Robert Lewandowski in the 2014-15 season, free of charge, for freedom of action. Already in the Bavarian team, he managed to score 4 goals in a game on September 22nd, 2015. That day, at half-time against Wolfsburg, Bayern lost 1-0 and entered the second half as a substitute. He tied it in the 51st minute, and in a span of 9 minutes, he scored 4 more goals. That game allowed him to enter 4 Guinness records together: the fastest author of a treble, poker and re-poker in the Bundesliga, and the substitute who scored the most goals in that competition. "He is the greatest thing that I have seen in a field," said later his DT, Josep Guardiola. Lewandowski, of 33 years old, joined Bayern Munich in 2014 and is already the club's second all-time goalscorer with 353 appearances in 7 seasons. Ahead is precisely Gerd Muller with 365. At 1.85 metres tall and 78 kilos, in addition to being one of the top gunners in the history of German football, he is the captain of the Polish team, in which he debuted on September the 10th, 2008, against San Marino for the classification to the 2010 World Cup and scored a goal. Before, he had played 3 games with the under-21 team. On October 5th, 2017, he became the top scorer in the history of his national team with his triplet against Armenia, a game which finished 6-1, and thus surpassed his country's soccer legend Włodzimierz Lewandowski, who played between 1963 and 1980 with 48 goals in 75 games, and that he had said in 2015 that Lewandowski would never beat his record. In 722 club matches, he scored 515 goals. And in the national team, he played 128 games and scored 74 goals. That is, in total, he has 589 goals in 850 games. He is very Catholic and appears very linked to religion. He usually prays before games and participates in mass Catholic campaigns.